Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, October 10, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:12 p.m. Jamaica time. We're still watching Tropical Storm Jerry, which is now to the north of the Leeward Islands, and we see that we have a newly formed Tropical Storm Saharan right here that has now become a post-tropical cyclone right here to the north of the Azores Islands. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can make out both systems. The clouds associated with Tropical Storm Jerry still lashing portions of the Lesser Antilles, and we can see the clouds just to the north of the Azores Islands pushing away quickly, associated with post-tropical cyclone Karen. If we take a look at the latest here on Tropical Storm Jerry, we can see all of the deep convection associated with the system still being sheared towards the southeast, as you can see here, as it pushes towards the north. As of right now, the latest from the Hurricane Center still states that it is a tropical storm, so it's a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm. It is still moving towards the northwest at this time at around 15 miles per hour, then should make that northward turn, then towards the northeast eventually, then turning to the east just before it makes its closest pass to Bermuda. And we see that it's expected to maintain that tropical storm status all the way up until then. And we see that we still have some amount of rainfall expected across the northeastern Caribbean associated with the outer bands of Tropical Storm Jerry. We see the light shades of greens that represents anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. That's about the same as 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico, Dominica, Guadeloupe, while the greens represents the 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. That's about the 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall for portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, Anguilla, Saba, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, St. Bart. They're still going to be expecting some decent rainfall from the system over the next 24 hours. Regarding the latest here on the surface map, there's actually a tropical wave right here to the east of Jamaica. We see the symbol right here associated with Tropical Storm Jerry. There's actually a tropical wave right here across the central portion of the main development region. A trough right here attached to a frontal system, and another frontal system right here extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into Florida. And we also have another tropical wave right here off the coast of Africa, and we know these are being steered from east-west, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic, let's see if we can make out some of these entities. The clouds associated with that frontal system trailing all of the clouds down into portions of Florida. We can see the clouds associated with that tropical system, that's Jerry right over here. We can see some clouds right here pushing from south to north, maybe in association with the massive trough of activity of the east coast of the US. For sure, this was definitely what brought us some rainfall across especially northern parishes today. There's supposedly a tropical wave right in here, and more than likely when it starts interacting with this trough, we're going to be getting in on even more rainfall, especially as we head into Sunday and Monday. We can see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave across the central main development region and that other tropical wave off the coast of Africa, all being steered from east to west, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. And we can see the clouds associated with that frontal system attached to the trough right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, October 10, 2025. It was stated that would have gotten some rainfall, maybe even to bring us some flooding in some spots. But the thing is, if you remember the last time a post like this was made, and we also highlighted that it was especially across the southern parishes, we got crazy flooding in Kingston and St. Andrew, and we didn't really get in on much of anything on the north coast. No complaints from the northern parish residents at all, but God forbid today we predicted something similar for the northern parishes, especially the northern parishes. And Kingston and St. Andrew was so dry today, and then the people are going crazy asking where the rainfall is. They didn't get that much of anything across St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, or St. Thomas today, but we definitely had the rainfall elsewhere, especially across the north coast. We had that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes, so that's Middlesex and Cornwall counties. And we had that rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, more so Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, and even St. Mary, and even western Portland for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the post that was made here highlighting the visible satellite images as well as the infrared satellite images. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page with Jamaica, but they're also made here on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see that around 4:35 p.m. we highlighted the fact that we definitely got on some thunderstorm activity, especially across sections of some central, western, and especially northern parishes for sure. We can see all of the activity pushing out towards the north. We definitely had some thunderstorm activity across sections of Clarendon, Manchester, sections of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, sections of St. Mary, and Portland definitely got on some of the activity as well at first. And if we take a look back at the visible, we can see exactly what took place where we actually had that rainfall. First of all, we can definitely see that south to north kind of flow of the low to mid level clouds, and then all of the air piling up, especially across the north coast, and that upper level wind shear blowing those cloud tops off towards the north, if not the northeast. That was definitely what was predicted for today. And we clearly also saw that we didn't get that much of anything across the southeast. Look at St. Catherine, Portmore people dry, Kingston and St. Andrew people dry, St. Thomas dry. Boy, most of the activity was just out west and out north for sure today. And these things happen. It's not all the time that we're going to be getting in on the rainfall that is predicted. These models aren't 100% correct, but they do paint quite the picture of where we would have had that rainfall, and that was exactly what took place, especially across the northern parishes, just as predicted. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can confirm all of the blues into the greens, into the yellows, into the oranges, the reds, the blacks that represents that cumulonimbus cloud cover that was quickly being pushed up towards the north by that upper level wind shear. And unfortunately, we don't have the Jamaican Doppler radar images to show, still glitched out. But we have the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing a newly installed Maypen Clarendon live footage right here. This was at around 3:55 p.m. Look at the decent rainfall that they were getting. Some people over here sheltering some people with their umbrellas out. And the thing is, they got rainfall throughout the afternoon. This was 3:55. Let's see if we can backtrack to another time when they got rainfall. Did they get rainfall? Okay, so I'm guessing it might have been some other portions of Clarendon at that time, but we saw that they definitely got in on some decent rainfall. This was also at 4:31 p.m. and they were still getting some rainfall in Maypen right there. We can see a lot of people going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free, so subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture for we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of Clarendon, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, section of St. Mary, and Western Portland for sure. And we just have at least one comment here confirming the weather in Edwards Tenacious here. She stated that we got the rain in South Manchester. Thank you for confirming that. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image here from the Weather News website. The latest Cuban Doppler radar image. The latest Cayman radar, well, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar image. And the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest still image from the Weather News website. Well, before the latest one, we saw what looked like some thunderstorms right before the latest image right here across St. Elizabeth, just to confirm what was predicted that would have gotten us some of the isolated thundershower, still affecting sections of some western parishes, especially the southwest, as some of this moisture pushes off towards the north by that by that low level flow from the south. But the latest still image here is showing 0015. Hold on there. Okay, let us use this one. I was using the wrong one. This is the latest still image. So it's showing 0045 UTC, which actually is 7:45 p.m. So this just came out at around, well, it came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:56 p.m. right now. And as you can see here, for the most part, most of the activity has cleared out, even though we have some clouds to the west and to the southwest and even to the southeast of us. But do we actually have rainfall, rain bands underneath those clouds? Unfortunately, we can't find out here from the Cuban Doppler radar. It shows all the way up to 3:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2:10 p.m. Jamaica time, where at that time we were getting in on some heavy rainfall out to the west of us and to the southwest of us. This was what I believed would have been over here and brought us some rainfall on the south coast, but clearly most of it was out west. But we also saw that rainfall across the north coast. We saw the greens into the yellows. That presents a moderate heavy rainfall across the section of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney into St. Anne, pushing off towards the north. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar on the other hand, showing some of the rain bands that affected us today on the north coast, pushing off towards the north towards southeastern Cuba. You can also see some rain bands right here between Jamaica and Haiti. The Cayman radar on the other hand now is actually showing that moisture pushing off from southwest to northeast into portions of Cuba. So it's not the usual east-west kind of flow. Very interesting. Let's see how it actually plays out over the next 24 to 48 to 72 hours. We see some moisture pushing from southwest to northeast in and around the Cayman Islands right here. Not really seeing much of anything right now across Jamaica, but we saw where we had that rain band pushing into sections of St. Elizabeth, like what we saw on the infrared earlier. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Halfway Tree Transport Center. And as you can see here, we have the people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. And it's fair conditions as usual, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, weekends are 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, well, 18Z on Saturday, which is actually around 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we see Jamaica shaded in the grays as well as the yellows. That represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above average. I know the average temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on a Saturday. And we're indeed grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page. I have to highlight. I know that we usually have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that there are no outages expected for Saturday, October 11. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside, eat fresh, try eating cold food such as salads and fruit. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we still see that the driest air is across portions of the northern main development region extending from Africa, the northern portion of the North Atlantic. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But we like the fact that we're seeing a lot of moist air across the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, in and around Central America, South America, the Caribbean, into the main development region. You notice wherever we have the moisture, that's where we have the clouds, the gray clouds right here. And wherever we have the clouds, that's where we have more moisture. That's where we have the rainfall, and that's what we want more of, more rainfall to cool down the temperatures and keep water in our pipes. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, we're heading into October 11, October 12, and October 13. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear, even though we have some Saharan dust pushing through the northern Caribbean right in here. That's the northeastern Caribbean for the most part. Just some slight greens, nothing really significant. You know that the significant plume of Saharan dust would have been represented by the oranges into the pinks right here, that we know cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that for the next 3 days we don't have any of that to worry about. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that tropical storm Jerry is going to be churning up the seas right here, just to the east of the US, just to the north of the Bahamas. You see the dark blues into the purples, into the burgundies. That's anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 meter wave heights. While the Caribbean is seeing light shades of blues to blues, represents anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height to 1 meter wave height, and that's because of the winds that are expected. Look at the flow of the winds tomorrow. Very interesting. We have a broad area of low pressure right here, extending from the southeast US coast all the way down into the northwestern Caribbean. That is inducing a southerly flow across the island, and we see the wind averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to at least 15, maybe even up to 20 knots in some spots. And wherever we have Jerry, we still have that air spinning around the system center of circulation, even although it's still being sheared. So some tropical storm force winds are going to be up there, which is why the waves will be so high tomorrow up there. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland, 0.6 meter wave height expected. To the north of St. Anne, 0.12 for meter wave height expected. To the north of Hanover, 0.5 for meter wave height expected. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.5 for meter wave height expected. To the south of Clarendon, 0.3 for meter wave height expected. And to the south of St. Thomas, 0.5 for meter wave height expected. And that's because of the winds. We see the winds averaging about 10 knots right here to the south of St. Thomas, averaging about 12 knots right here to the south of Westmoreland. Interesting. And we definitely see that southerly flow across the island tomorrow, so something similar to what happened today. So you know what that means. If there's any moisture from the south coming into the south coast of the island, maybe some rainfall for the south coast, well, more than likely it's going to be mainly that daytime heating rainfall across some northern parishes. Some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And then that upper-level wind shear is still coming in from the south. So any thunderstorms that form are going to be quick to be blown off towards the north. But let us look at the actual rainfall forecast maps. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And the thing is, we didn't see much of anything in the morning for Jamaica. But in the afternoon, we definitely see moisture. And take these forecasts with a grain of salt. Remember what happened yesterday? The Euro is showing the blues into the greens. That represents some crazy amount of 1 hour total rainfalls across the eastern end to the western end. GFS showing some rainfall as well across some northern parishes, some southern and southeastern parishes. We see the rainfall as well. And definitely going to be getting on some rainfall during the afternoon for sure, especially across the northern parishes. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now up until then, but these are the areas that could pick up some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. The Euro going up to the slight raise that represents close to an inch of rainfall. GFS up to 0.75 for an inch of rainfall in the northwest. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of October. And in St. Anne, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive 176 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about 6.9 inches of rainfall. while in Clarendon we usually receive 179 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 7 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. Alright, so we're about to look at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Saturday's forecast. Now it is time to look at what's expected on Sunday. 12Z on Sunday is actually 7 a.m. We see some moisture across the southern end of the island for that time. Then on Sunday afternoon, we go crazy with the rainfall. Eastern, central, western parishes getting on some rainfall. Does the GFS show something similar? Sunday morning, we're actually seeing some moisture across especially central, western parishes. Then on Sunday afternoon, look at the moisture across eastern, central, western parishes. Just like on the Euro. Interesting. What do we see on Monday morning? Monday morning, we're seeing some rainfall across the southern and western ends of the island. On the year, then on Monday afternoon, eastern, central, and western parishes again. Very interesting Monday and Tuesday coming up. Let us see what the GFS shows for Monday morning. Some southern and western parishes getting some rainfall. Then on Monday afternoon, look at that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting. What do we see on Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, maybe some rainfall out west and to the south of us. Then on Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Tuesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning? On Wednesday morning, maybe some rainfall to the north of us, to the south of us. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across some eastern, northern, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, rainfall to the north of us, to the west of us, to the south of us. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing some isolated showers across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, we're actually seeing some moisture surrounding us. Then on Thursday afternoon, interesting, we're seeing some moisture across the eastern, central, and western parishes, and we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Friday, October 17, and we're seeing some decent moisture engulfing the island at that time. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, rainfall across some southern parishes. Thursday afternoon, some rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes, and we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours as well. So some isolated showers across some eastern and central parishes. Very interesting forecast in general. We'll say it actually plays out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are definitely showing an increase in rainfall across the Greater Antilles. So the Bahamas into Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, definitely going to be getting some increased rainfall, 2 all the way up to maybe 5 inches of rainfall expected over the next 7 days. We also see the snail trail associated with Jerry, the rainfall still to come out to sea from it, and the usual rainfall totals in the same ranges across sections of northern South America into Central America. And if we take a look at the GFS, we see something similar regarding these rainfall totals. So we know that some isolated flash flooding could definitely be possible in some of these spots across land. And if we take a look at Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, we see the greens into the yellows into the oranges that represents anywhere from 15 all the way to maybe 60 millimeters of rainfall. On the Euro, we see this map showing other rainfall that's expected from now up until Friday, October 17. The GFS, on the other hand, showing the rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, especially the northwestern part, and it's the same amount of rainfall, especially the western end getting in on the most, up to the 60 millimeters, the eastern end all the way down to the 15 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so regarding what's taking place across the rest of the basin, as stated, that trough definitely bringing some rainfall to portion of Florida into the Bahamas, western Cuba, the northwestern Caribbean. The clouds associated with Tropical Storm Jerry still affecting portions of the eastern Caribbean. Tropical waves here and there across the main development region. And if we take a look at what's taking place near Puerto Rico regarding the outer bands of Jerry, we can see all of the moisture still affecting portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, And if we load these images from earlier today, we had some rainfall across sections of some northern and northeastern portions of Puerto Rico. Most of that moisture pushing off towards the northeast, all courtesy of the flow that Jerry is causing. But look at the Barbados radar. We're seeing more of an easterly, if not east-southeasterly kind of flow with the rainfall. We see some isolated rain bands passing to the south of Barbados, pushing into sections of St. Vincent and Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago getting on some of the action. We see Dominica already getting in on some decent rainfall. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, just as we stated, a lot of moisture associated with that trough pushing across Cuba into Florida, into the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, western Jamaica, some rainfall across section of the Yucatan into Guatemala, Belize, Honduras right there. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday, there should definitely be rainfall wherever we have the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, into the reds, into the purples, into the pinks. That represents anywhere from 3 inches of rainfall all the way down to at least 0.1 of an inch of rainfall. So we're talking about section of the Bahamas, Florida, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, section of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. We also see some rainfall expected for portions of Venezuela, Guyana, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, sections of Belize into Guatemala as well. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Regarding what's taking place across the Eastern Pacific, Priscilla is now post-tropical, so it's no longer a tropical cyclone. We're still watching tropical storm Raymond though right here, still brushing or hugging the western Mexican coastline. Definitely gotten on some decent rainfall across coastal Mexico, and we see most of the thunderstorms now pushing off towards the north towards Cabo San Lucas. And if we take a look at the latest here from the Hurricane Center, Raymond is now packing 50-mile-per-hour winds, moving towards the northwest at 17 miles per hour. So it should definitely make landfall across Cabo San Lucas, where there's a tropical storm warning up now. There's also still a tropical storm warning up for portions of coastal Mexico and some of these smaller islands right here out to sea. Very interesting. 50-mile-per-hour winds is what Jerry's packing now, so it's medium range, not closer to depression or category 1 status. Definitely medium range tropical storm, and it has a lot more rainfall to come for portions of northwestern Mexico. We see all of these light shades of greens to yellows into gold. That represents anywhere from all the way from 1 up to 8 inches of rainfall. That's about 25 to 200 millimeters of rainfall. Very interesting. Hope they're actually staying safe regarding the possible flooding that's going to be taking place. But regarding what's happening on the western Pacific side of things, we're still watching tropical storm Nakri right here to the south of Japan, and if we take a look at the infrared, we can see the clouds associated with it already affecting the southern Japanese islands right here. Not really looking that organized, but you see it right here trying to get its act together. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center stating that it should increase in the wind speeds as it pushes off towards the northeast. 55 knots, 65 knots, 75 knots, 80 knots. 80 knots seems like the peak of it, and we know that systems that get anywhere from 65 all the way up to 83 knot winds are classified as category 1 hurricanes, category 1 typhoon. Status is what's expected to make it up to as it makes its closest pass to mainland Japan, similar to the other typhoon that was there a week ago. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.